everyone, it's Brandy from Brandy Burrow Astrology, back with Ellie Adams from YouTube channel Let's F with Astrology. Welcome back, Ellie.
Thank you for having me.
So this is part 2 of this Long Island serial killer / Gilgo beach murders. I don't really know the technical name here. But we're looking at just the victims charts as far as last seen, last heard from, 911 calls. We're going to look at an arrest chart as well. But make sure you go to Ellie's channel to catch part 1, to kind of catch the beginning of the story and how we started this discussion off. And this will be part 2, where we continue the discussion with more charts. Sound right, Ellie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that sounds good. And both Brandy and I are kind of like, how do we even word this? Because the timeline we were talking about, the timeline's kind of, it bounces. So it's kind of
back and forth. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to keep my Wikipedia up. So you've seen me on my phone. I'm just trying to make sure I got like dates right and stuff. Because it's
not bored or something.
Yeah. A lot of details. But yeah, we're going to continue. We looked at Shannon Gilbert's 911 call chart and when she was found. I guess really if I'm going to go in order of dates, we got Maureen Brainerd Barnes. I hope I pronounced that right. And then we'll start with that chart and kind of just see what else is going on here. Does that sound good?
Yes. And she is, just to kind of add on something that we mentioned in the other video, she is part of the Gilgo Beach 4 or Gilgo 4 that were originally found when looking for Shannon Gilbert.
Yes. Thank you for that.
Just to kind of, sorry, I would, but yeah, just to kind of tie.
No, I need help. Okay, I hit the wrong thing. Let's not look at that.
It's enjoy the conversation.
Please.
No, yeah, that's funny because we did one of these on my computer once or something, and I think somebody saw my file that said whatever this shit is.
Yeah, and I'm gonna just have to go through all the charts here. Sorry guys, this is just Brandy during a retrograde. I keep hitting the wrong chart. Give me just a second. Actually, Ellie provided these charts. Thank you, Ellie, by the way. And I just I'm using.
You're welcome. I wish I could find more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to find all the times that we would love to have on these. And but we're using what Ellie found here. Thank you for all that magical research. The problem is keep hitting the same chart. No matter which one I pick, this Rex arrested wants to come up. Okay, bear with me, guys. Okay, so I paused the recording to get my stuff together here. I think we got this now. So let's look at Maureen's chart. Here we go.
Also to throw out with hers, she is the one of the Gilgo 4 that has not actually been 100% linked to Hewerman, right? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. And yeah, but they believe he's suspect here.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So, here we go. Here's the chart. Can you see this okay? This is Maureen's last heard from. This is going to be July 9th, 2007, 11:43 p.m. in New York.
Yes. Yeah, I can see. Yeah.
Gotcha. So take it, Ellie. What's the first thing you notice on this?
Pluto. Pluto very close to the midheaven.
I feel like we've seen this before.
Yes.
In the Shannon Gilbert. Yeah.
Yes, it's when I pulled that, I was like, the fuck, it's like that's, I don't know. It stands, it's there and it's prominent. It's also very close to the galactic center, which makes me think it's got even more power here. Probably kind of wonky.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. The moon here is in the second house. This is kind of interesting on this chart. You know, this would co-rule marine. This makes me think abduction for sure.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, and in the Shannon Gilbert chart, we saw the descendant in Libra. In this chart, that Libra energy is intercepted in the seventh house.
Yes, it is. It
Weird.
is. It is, yeah. It is kind of strange. And she,
Now we got technically Virgo on this descendant though. So, you know, this is going to be a Mercury ruled energy for the perpetrator found right there in the fourth house of endings. And, you know, here's what's kind of weird. In part one, we were discussing Shannon Gilbert. I'm like, okay, something's weird with, we were both discussing, something's kind of weird with this. Something's known, but not known. And I'm like, are they not going to be able to charge him? I think they have technically, but it's like, something's weird there. I feel like there's some kind of weird connecting them, but yet this is the actual victim that they can't quite tie to him, right?
yeah. Yeah. I can't really remember exactly what it is, but she was found with the other three, the first four that were found. And yeah, they can't for some, or they haven't made it known anyway that they can completely tie her. And though I would think that like common sense, you know what I mean? Like kind of, I mean, but I know that it takes more than common sense when it comes to, you know, that have actual proof.
Yeah. And there, like I said, there's something with those charts I couldn't put my finger on, like something's weird here. But this chart, being that Mercury is right there on that fourth house cusp, this makes me think like this could be tied. So I feel like there's like a swap of energies with these victims. And like I said, I can't put my finger on it. So sorry, I'm all over the place with it. But it's like, this doesn't seem like a chart where they're not going to, you know, with Mercury right there on the fourth house of endings and outcomes.
Like they're gonna, this one will, yeah. No, I see what you're saying.
I think, I mean, that's the sense I get here, but
that Jupiter is retrograde. Now, this was also damn near 20 years ago. We're going on like 16 years ago. So that could also point to, you know, because like the retrograde motion can sometimes point to things taking longer or needing to go back. And with one of her rulers being Jupiter, it does I mean, it could just point to how long it's fucking been. Or worst case, they will probably need to go back to like, and I'm sure hopefully they're doing that, but kind of go back to the beginning there might be something they're missing.
yeah.
Law enforcement missing, especially with law enforcement also 10th house, you know, midheaven 10th house, Sagittarius also in that Jupiter retrograde, they something going back.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's never, when we're looking at forensic charts, it's kind of disheartening when you see a retrograde planet ruling the victim. It's not, I wouldn't say it's impossible to solve or anything, but it's definitely got to be some sort of delay or, you know.
Yeah, it's going to take a little longer.
That Mars in the first house is concerning. You know, anytime we're looking at a forensic chart and you see a violent planet in the first house of the victim, and this, you know, Mars is in a detriment here.
Yeah. It adds an element of like violence.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Something odd though, with Mars in Taurus, it feels more slow, you know. So I'm not sure what this looks like, but it's like, oh, it just feels
Sadistic.
Yeah.
to me with that eighth house having Scorpio on the cusp. Not, and I want to make it clear, I'm not saying eighth house people with, I'm not trying to brag on that placement in a natal chart, but here it does feel kind of sadistic. That Aries is also intercepted in the first, the fast, Aries energy is faster. This doesn't feel fast to me.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it doesn't. No, it definitely doesn't. We have some similar things going on here. If I'm going from memory from Shannon's chart, that Uranus in the 12th and Neptune.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how they both are having these placements here, but that Neptune just adds fogginess here. I can see why there's something not clear about this case for I guess law enforcement, or at least tying it to the victim or to the perpetrator.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
Now, one thing I was, when we were discussing these earlier, in Shannon's chart, there's, like I said, Libra on the descendant, which would really point you to more than one person. Got Libra intercepted here. I was wondering if we would see more 11th house activity. Not quite seeing that. So if there's more than one individual, I would think maybe they're not associated with groups of some sort, but maybe more, I don't know. There's something weird, because I'm like, okay, more than one person, yet we're not really seeing 11th house.
No, we're not. That is,
could be underground, right?
Could be. There's something about, I can't quite put my finger on it. Capricorn on the cusp of the 11th here, Saturn in the 6th in Leo, conjunct Venus, and that Libra intercepted. But I don't quite know exactly
what to make of the 6th house.
Well, with those two, like I'm just thinking about that for a second.
I'm just going to run through this Wikipedia real quick on her. Normally when I'd see like the Venus Saturn conjunction, that's what you're referring to, right?
Yeah, but looking at them as the rulers of like the 11th house and being intercepted in the, Libra being intercepted in the 7th, there's something about that and them coming together.
First thing makes me think of is someone they've known for a while, or maybe known before, known through work.
Has some kind of association with it.
Yeah. Now she's the one who usually, if I understood right, worked at motel or Super 8 motel. And
I believe so, yeah.
Called a friend and told her they were going to meet someone outside of the motel, which was usually something that you didn't do, I guess, in this line of work.
Yeah, that's kind of my understanding of it too. Like, which I would imagine for safety reasons, you would kind of maybe not want to do that.
Yeah.
It feels kind of wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I get a sense here this isn't a new client or someone she didn't know or wasn't familiar with in some sort of way, but
Maybe it wasn't, maybe, okay, maybe it's not, okay, maybe it's not an unfamiliar client, but maybe the client wanted her to do something unfamiliar,
Yeah,
something like that.
possibly. Shall we look at the other victim, Amber Costello?
Yes, sure. And just to be about hers, there may actually be a better time somewhere for her last. This was what I could find. I just want to make that note in case somebody's like, oh, that's not the last time. I found some other time. This was, I scoured. This was, but it did seem like there might have been another time slightly later, perhaps. But I, like, again, but this isn't like, don't, it's not like some bullshit time I've made up. This is something that I did see somewhere. I just want to make that clear.
Ellie did not make up a bullshit time. Exactly. This, to me, this chart makes sense because you got the Gemini ascendant, which is, multiple victims.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, ruled by that Mercury in retrograde. Okay, so I know there's been someone arrested for 3 out of 4 of these. Okay,
yes,
make that clear. Why do I keep getting the sense something's off as far as connecting them, though, in a legal way?
yeah, no, I do too.
God, I hope I'm wrong on this. I hope this is like retrogrades affecting me because we got 6 planets retrograde right now. But it's like, we look at Shannon's and I'm like, I feel like maybe there's something weird. Maybe they're not going to be able to nab this guy, but he's been arrested for it. The one who he hasn't been like officially charged with is the one I feel like they could connect with, even though she's retrograde. But then you got this one, this Mercury retrograde ruler. Something's weird here. Something is weird.
Something, it really, with the weirdness, and I know exactly what you're talking about because when I was pulling these up, I just kind of had similar thoughts.
Yeah, it's I hope I'm articulate, but I don't know if it's like a feeling. It's just weird because normally when we look at these forensic charts and we see, okay, got someone arrested, we're not usually dealing with retrograde planets ruling the victims.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and out of all the charts that I was able to get times for, she's the only one that he has been charged with. And yeah.
But he was charged with 3. Am I wrong about that?
He was charged with 3, yes.
Okay, sorry. I don't know why
I just couldn't,
but I just want to make sure.
just couldn't find times for the other 2 of the
Gotcha.
Gilgo 4.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Okay. And so, yeah, we got this, well, it is a strong Mercury, as far as being in Virgo, but retrograde, right there in the 4th house, but it's combust with the sun, like weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
And what do you make about that 5th house activity?
Well, actually, I was gonna say, we got our groups now.
We do have 11th house activity popping up here.
We do with the with the ruler of the 7th house, Jupiter in the 11th, right up Uranus's ass.
And I want to correct myself. Stan and Gilbert didn't have a retrograde ruler. I don't know why I was thinking that. It's just so far Amber and Maureen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We were just talking about the retrogrades in Gilbert's.
Yeah. But yeah, now we do have groups showing up here with Amber's chart, and we want to kind of look at a perpetrator here. We now have Jupiter showing up, and it's retrograde.
It is. It is.
But that's Pluto that we were seeing in the other charts. So the other one, Pluto, is kind of right there on the 10th house. Now we're seeing this in 7th house.
Yeah. This. it makes me think hers, it makes me think hers is different. Um, yeah, hers feels different to me. Doesn't mean he didn't do it. I'm not trying to imply that, but there's a different yeah.
There's just something different happening here.
Yes.
Yeah. And we do have her
This
co-ruler, the moon, sitting in the first house of her house. Yeah, something's a little bit more, do I want to say distance or kind of, I feel like she has, how do I want to say this, more decision and what's going on, or does she make choices here? Like, I don't feel like this is so much like, you know, sometimes we're seeing abductions, sometimes we're seeing this, but maybe, I don't know, she has more power in this coming into the situation. Sounds weird, but
she could. I wonder. That Venus and Mars in the fifth. You're asking, you just mentioned that, and I kind of stopped and started talking about something else. There is distance. There is distance here, but there's also like a kind of like a closeness too.
mm-hmm.
With those two together like that.
Yeah. Here's what's weird about that. If you're looking at the sixth house, Venus is ruling that sixth house. You got Scorpio intercepted though in the sixth house, so where that Mars is coming. So those two planets are coming together that have so much sixth house energy, yet one is hidden, you know. There's definitely a theme of service here, you know. I think you, in a way, can say this is a service type industry, but
yeah, could it, okay, what about this with those, could it be that maybe she had a she it's almost like, how do I want to say it? It's like thinking that she was gonna meet somebody that she knew and that turned out not to be who she was meeting.
absolutely. Yeah, I think that could definitely describe what's happening here.
That's what that feels like. Something like that. Or along those lines, like, yeah.
Well, you know, and forensically, just in general, when you're looking at forensic charts, when you get like sixth house activity, it can indicate like stalking or kind of like being watched. So it wouldn't surprise me, like meeting someone, thinking you're meeting someone and it being someone else. To me, that could be kind of like, you can kind of see some trapping a little bit with sixth house sometimes.
Especially with something like Scorpio. Interesting, like, I don't know, I see that and I think that it does kind of feel like, well, she maybe thought she had power in the situation, especially if this was somebody that she maybe knew and, had, or she thought she was meeting somebody that she knew, and then that was not how this went.
No, because not only do you have that Scorpio like secretive, and then it's intercepted, it's extra hidden, and it's, you know, it's also ruled by a Mars and a detriment. Like,
yeah,
I absolutely think that makes sense here.
Yeah.
And then you have the eighth house of death in Capricorn, and that ruled by Saturn, which is visiting that house as well.
Yeah.
But look at that, like,
Yes.
separation. I mean, oh yeah, Saturn's in the same sign as the Mars-Venus conjunction here, but there's at least 18 degrees difference here. So it's like visiting, but not right there. So it makes me think, not to get graphic, but work and service was provided first. Am I
Yeah.
too far off the ledge on that? I don't know why.
No.
Separation. You get Saturn for ruling the house of death, but Saturn's also like a body as well. Yet it's
Yeah.
visiting the house. Yet there's this Venus Mars activity going on. I don't know.
No, I could see that.
This is
Yeah.
just all sorts of weird. I feel like surprise after surprise.
Yes. And I, I will say this. I don't think she didn't expect any. I really don't think she expected. I think she was blindsided. That moon is conjunct the galactic age center. I'm gonna throw that out there. The blinding. I don't think she thought she had power. She didn't see what was coming. Like I think it probably caught her completely off guard.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
So the suspect, Rex Heuermann, if I'm saying that right, arrested in July.
Yes. This.
Pretty
Yeah.
fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just we're recording September 1st. So just what 8 weeks ago. But so this is fresh. We're not at trial yet. Those retrogrades just have me highly concerned.
Okay. What was retrograde when he was Venus was in the pre-show.
I'm sorry, Venus was in what?
Was like it's like what I call like the pre-show, like before, like before the retro, like the tailgating time. So I don't think it had quite gone. It wasn't retrograde yet, but there were some planets that were when he was arrested, right?
Yeah, let's look at his chart.
There were.
I got the arrest chart that you so kindly shared, and that I shared a million times. Or this other. Let me make this larger for us.
Yeah, Saturn, Neptune, Pluto rising, or it's 6 degrees, but it's still close. That does this here. I'll say this, and the other, in Gilbert's chart and Barnes's chart.
I know I'm a mess here. In the 911 Gilbert chart, there's not a retrograde, but I believe when she's found, there's a retrograde.
Yes.
Okay, that's where I'm getting.
There were two. Jupiter.
Yes.
Jupiter, Mercury.
Sorry, I'm all over the map, guys. I know I'm compiling this from somewhere. I just want to make sure where I was getting that from. Yes, go ahead.
Well, no, there are a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of victims to, it's hard. It can be hard, challenging to keep everything, completely 100% straight. But in this chart, he's got that Pluto where it is. Pluto's where it is in this chart when he was arrested. And that does stand out to me with Gilbert's and Barnes's charts, that the Pluto right like on the midheaven.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see that though in Costello's chart.
Mm-mm. You see it in the 7th house.
Yes. Which I guess could give the perpetrator some kind of power, if you will. Mm-hmm. But it's still not as close, you know what I mean, to like the angle as, I don't know, that strikes me as interesting.
Right. Whereas this one, pretty close to the angle, pretty close to the ascendant. Astrology, the 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th houses are strong houses. And, in the last chart, it's in the 7th, but it's kind of closer to the 8th. It's like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do we want to look at this? When I look at this chart when he's arrested, I I'm really looking at the ascendant as Rex.
Yeah. Yeah.
With Pluto there. Still feeling like he's got some sense of power. Something I really I don't want to say because I don't, I want to be respectful to the families, but it concerns me. That someone being arrested for this has power in his house.
There's also the 10th house with Scorpio on the cusp. Does he have ties to law enforcement?
Makes you wonder because we're seeing something with law enforcement in these charts, especially, well, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if he has, and I'm not accusing, but I just wonder. I'm not accusing. I'm just curious if there's any ties to law enforcement for them.
Mm-hmm.
The sun, where it is too. And Leo intercepted.
Mm-hmm.
I still think there are things that are not being seen here.
There's definitely a lot of hidden. I'm going to give you another one here that's kind of concerning me. That South Node in the ninth house. South Node's like familiar energy. The North Node would be more current direction here, but that South Node in the ninth house of where we find law and trials and these sorts of things. What has he gotten away with in the past? I don't know why, but there's something like repeat. Like I'm really concerned about.
Yeah.
That.
I think it's possible, or it's possible that there might even be, or could it be that he gets away with murders that are suspected to be, and he just, you know what I mean? Like he gets away with it, with the,
Yeah. And I'm by no way saying he's not going to be convicted. I'm just saying there's some things here that are kind of weird. But yeah. Hopefully investigations were handled properly, no contaminations, no,
do we think they, because I really have, I mean, I and I hope I'm wrong, but I really have my doubts that they were handled 100% on the up and up.
Well, yeah. And in a case of a murder trial, all it takes is like prosecutors or investigators just contaminating or doing something a little wrong, and it can throw it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm just going down a trail in that one, but it's kind of weird.
It'd be really interesting to see, and we don't have his time of birth, but it would be very interesting to see what this looked like on top of his chart.
Let me at least see his birth date. We can kind of get an idea of a little bit here. So let me find it. I should have had this ready.
No worries.
Gosh, I can't find it. I know it's here somewhere though. I'm gonna just look up, see if someone else has
anything for him.
Yeah, even if we don't have the time confirmed, we can at least see where some planets were that day. Interesting, nothing pops up. Let me put birthday. But yeah, there's that Sagittarius on the 11th and 12th house too, while I'm looking at this. Sagittarius can be kind of like, I've heard it described as 11th hour luck.
Like by the skin of your nose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
we're looking at 12th house for like imprisonment or going to prison. And we got Sagittarius there. Doesn't always mean, but there's just all sorts of things here that are just weird.
Yeah.
Gosh, I cannot.
Let's see what the degree, if there's a fixed star near the degree of the okay, there is.
September 13th, 63 is popping up as his birthday. So he's got the Virgo energy going on. I'll put that out there real quick.
Okay. So his sun would, if that is in fact correct, his sun would fall in the 8th house.
Yeah.
This chart.
Secrets.
The fixed star, there is one near the ascendant at 2349. Vanity and love of display, together with a long life and sometimes fame.
Hmm.
And then that's Saturn. Okay, there is one near it too, at 643 Pisces. Success in ventures, personal charm, movement to rich pastures, aviation, discovery of lost items, the star of hidden things. It's kind of,
Yeah.
which kind of, echoes back some of the stuff about something not being 100%, like known or.
And see Saturn, which I guess would represent him in this event chart. Retrograde.
Mm-hmm. And in Pisces. And I know Saturn is in Pisces for a little bit, but there is something a little bit more slippery about it than if it,
can't be contained, right? Pisces is not
yes.
Huh. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how this unfolds.
It will. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
And I hope we're wrong about like what we're kind of leaning to. I hope we're wrong.
Yeah. And astrology is, you can take different elements of signs, planets, just everything combined. I'm just going to share honestly what I'm feeling. Yeah, I hope this, I hope there's someone that's responsible. What am I trying to say? That justice is served and someone is held responsible for this. And if it's him, I hope so. There's just a lot of weird things going on though.
There are. There really are. Yeah.
Any final words about this chart?
I think I'm good.
Thank you, Ellie. Thank you for coming on to discuss part 2 of the charts with these murders, Long Island serial killer, Gilgo beach murders. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. If anyone has any information to add or anything you guys see, put it in the comments. Always love reading your comments and seeing what you guys see as well. So.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, until next time, Ellie. Oh, before we get off here, please tell everyone where they can find you.
Oh, you can find me on YouTube at Let's Up with Astrology, on Instagram at Saturn Season Astrology, and on my website, SaturnSeason.com. And Brandy, where can you be found?
Brandy Burrow Astrology.com and Brandy Burrow Astrology on Instagram and YouTube here. So thanks for following us, guys, and watching and for your support. Make sure you go subscribe to Ellie's channel. And yeah, hopefully you're not watching this backward. Hopefully you've watched part 1, but if you haven't right now, go watch part 1. All right. Until next time. Thanks, guys.